welcome to our video on response and explanatory variables. Now we're going to start looking at pairs of variables and how they might be related to one another. So when we have two variables, our data is called bivariate data. You might recall univariate data was for one variable, but now we're looking at two different variables. And the bi in bivariate tells us means two, like bi is in bicycle. When we've got two variables, we need to have some way of comparing them and being able to describe the difference between the two. So when we do have two variables, we name one of them the response variable and one is the explanatory variable. Now you may have, and I've put it down here a little bit further, you may have used this terminology in other subjects or other year levels, independent variable and dependent variable, but we need to start using response and explanatory. It's the same thing, just slightly different names. So I've got here, when we look at a relationship between two variables, the variable that explains or causes a change in the other variable is called an explanatory variable. So it's kind of got the word explain in it. So the one that explains the other one is the explanatory variable. And the other one is called the response variable. Explanatory is also independent, response is also dependent. If you haven't heard these terms before, don't worry about them. But if you have, then it will help you understand which one's which. You need to be really confident in deciding which variable is which to help you complete many more calculations that we're going to be doing over the next few weeks. I've got a little diagram that I like to use to help me understand it, and it comes from this sentence here, that the explanatory variable explains or causes the response variable, and the direction of the arrow here is really important. The response variable doesn't explain the explanatory. The arrow doesn't go back this way. It only goes this way. Explanatory explains response. And if you're unsure which one goes first, you can remember E for explanatory. E comes first in the alphabet. R for response comes second in the alphabet. So this one's on the right hand side. When you're trying to decide which variable is which, you might need to make up some levels, which I'll explain in the example I'm about to do. You could use high, low, better, worse, any kind of level that suits the variable you're talking about, to add to each variable to help you decide which is which. So our first example here, a researcher is investigating if there is a relationship between the number of hours of homework done and the grade on the final exam. So first step I'm going to do is write out our two variables. What I'm trying to do is set up this little diagram I've got up here with the variables that we've been given. So the first variable is hours of homework and the second one is grade on exam. So I'm going to go on and draw my arrow going across here because I need to decide if the arrow goes this way or if it goes the other way. So it goes from grade on exam over to hours homework. Remember these two little words here, explains and causes. So we go through here and go, does hours of homework cause or explain the grade on the exam? That might make sense to you. You might be able to say yes or no. Does the grade on the exam cause or explain the hours of homework? That might make sense to you as well. This is where I've set up here, you may need to make up some levels. So if you're not clear with the first, you might be clear with the first one, know which one of these, we're trying to decide which one works. If you're clear, you don't need to do the second bit. If you're still not clear and you want some more clarification, go on and make up some levels. So let's go for high number of hours of homework causes a better grade on the exam. And I'll just fill in the same down here. Better grade on the exam causes high number of hours of homework. And hopefully now when you look at these two, you can see that the second one doesn't really make sense. A better grade doesn't really cause lots of homework. The homework usually causes the better grade. That's what we're looking for. So I'm going to cross the bottom one out. And we know the top one is the one the correct diagram we're looking for. And all we need to do now is the explanatory variable is the one on the left, and the response variable is the one on the right. So you can use, actually, I'll use EV for explanatory variable and RV for response variable. For the second example, I'd like you to have a go at working out some of these yourself, and you need to be able to draw the diagram yourself. You might like to pause the video now to have a go at these 5 examples, and then I'll be going through the solutions so you can watch it yourself. Pause the video now. Okay, hopefully you've had a go at these examples. I'm going to go through some quick solutions for you. Level of education related to salary. Higher education causes higher salary. That one makes sense. There's your explanatory variable and your response variable. Higher salary causes higher education. Doesn't make sense. So I've got the right way. Amount of ice cream sold related to daily temperature. Ice cream temperature. More ice cream sold on hot days. More ice cream sold is caused by, more ice cream causes hot days. No, hot days causes more ice cream to be sold. So I think it's around the other way. Okay, I flip them around. More temperature, higher temperature causes more ice cream to be sold. That makes more sense. Explanatory variable, response variable. Does a higher dosage of a drug cause more side effects? Drug side effects. Higher or more drug causes more side effects. More drug causes more side effects. Seems to make sense. Let's just check the other way. More side effects causes more drugs. Doesn't really make sense. Let's go back to the original one. Explanatory and response. Next example, relationship between amount of plant food given and height. So we could say more food makes a higher plant. More food causes a higher plant, seems to make sense. More height causes or explains more food. Doesn't fit. So the first one again. Last example is exercise related to length of life. Exercise More exercise gives you longer life. More exercise causes longer life, or longer life causes more exercise. It's the first one again. Explanatory variable, response variable. Hopefully this has helped you to work out the difference between the two variables. Thanks for watching.